When we think of innovation, we think of cutting-edge technology, complicated systems, and brand new approaches. However, innovation is not just a purchase. At UGA Law Library, we learned through trial and error to put the process before the technology, and not the other way around. Because sometimes the most innovative idea is the simplest solution. Beginning in May of 2020, our library systems team was presented with a very specific task. Access Services asked that we make patron-driven requests in our ILS possible in time for our fall 2020 reopening. This was a reasonable request. We did not want to encourage browsing of the stacks by any patrons at that time. We also had longer reshelving times due to the quarantine period following item check-ins. The natural solution, and the one specifically requested by Access Services, was to use our catalog provider, Innovative's Sierra, or so we thought. What on the surface seemed to be the right tool for the job presented several problems. First, the learning curve was steep, including more than 40 pages of initial related documentation to adjust all of the various interwoven settings to make this change possible. It required hours, which turned into days and eventually weeks of contacting Innovative tech support through phone calls and supportal help desk tickets. Third, what we instinctively knew going into this was that we were trying to force one tool intended for items that already are checked out to work for items that were still available. This turned out to be a bigger issue than we forecasted. Fourth, how to use the Request Items feature for our library users. You could only access the buttons from within the catalog search or item records, and following that by logging into the library's online catalog. So, linking patrons directly to a point of request was impossible. The process had to be illustrated through multi-step signage, infographics shared on social media, and even included as segments in multiple video tutorials for incoming and returning students. And fifth, only through initial testing in the first few weeks of reopening did we realize a final issue, the turnaround time. It took over 24 hours from the point of user request until it appeared in Sierra's hold shelf. So not only was the setup and the steps for users complicated, but library staff getting notified and fulfilling the request could take up to 2 days. This final factor was unacceptable, leading staff to working around it through in-person requests or requests to pull item by phone, but also causing many communication issues between staff and patrons at the point of service due to lags in system notifications and other misunderstandings for request fulfillment. Fast forward to January 2021. We had seen the mosaic of problems from using the right tool for the wrong job. We knew we needed a simpler approach. We needed something outside the system. We needed something we could link users directly to from our website or in an email. Instead of 3 months to implement, this time we had only 1 week to create and test a new approach. So, we needed to use a tool we were familiar with, one that had zero learning curve to launch. We decided to work outside the ILS completely this time. Settled on a most basic web form built in Drupal 7, our law school and library's website CMS. In just 2 days, we had a working draft, and testing proved that email notifications to Access Services staff were almost instant, under 2 minutes from Webform submission to notices in their inbox. Notices went directly to staff as well, rather than requiring them to log in to Sierra's desktop client and check the hold shelf. Users could access the new web form directly. The web form itself contained the instructions, so no multi-step signage or segments of video tutorials were needed. Although we collected fewer requests using the web form, we had higher levels of both student and library staff satisfaction. Still, contactless pickup of items was simpler to understand, easier to request, and quicker to fulfill. The lesson was process before technology, and in our case, the simplest and lowest tech solution turned out to be the best, and surprisingly, most innovative idea.